Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why most strength athletes really would benefit from doing a lot more high reps. And when I say a lot more, I don't just mean throwing in a few sets. I would even suggest that the majority of your work throughout the year be high rep training. And I should define my terms. What do I mean by high reps? 10 to 20. And this is based upon not only my looking at and understanding the scientific literature, it's based upon my own experiences watching other lifters, watching other coaches, with my own clients. I generally find, even for those of us who are running the conjugate system, that my guys who tend to do more higher rep work, particularly on really important movements, in this case, you see me doing good mornings or a closed grip bench or whatever it is they happen to be doing, my guys get more PRs. Okay, they get stronger quicker without getting as beat up. Okay, they get stronger quicker without getting as beat up. And I think something that's interesting to note there, not that I'm a fan of linear periodization, not that I like everything that Dr. Mike Israetel says, but I think he said something a while back that really highlights something important. He himself being a coach and a former professor of kinesiology, he retired from that, and an athlete, he's made the comment that he's noticed even with powerlifters, that oftentimes powerlifters make the best PRs after he runs them through a serious hypertrophy block or high volume block. Why is that? Because it's a period of time where they gained a lot of muscle. I'm the same when I've done my conjugate stuff. Some of my best PRs have been after where I did periods of time where I spent 2 or 3 months doing mostly high reps. And then maybe a short period of a little more lower rep stuff, and then hit a big PR. Now, the caveat there being, I'm not saying we shouldn't be lifting heavy. I'm not saying we shouldn't be lifting heavy year round. So before someone jumps up and says, oh, you think, powerlifters should just be training like nothing but bodybuilders. No. I think if you want to be strong, you need to be maxing out every week. Now, that's in many circles a very controversial statement. Yet the West Side guys have done it for decades successfully. Plenty of people who follow that system have done it for decades successfully. There's reasons that method works. It doesn't work because you're doing the same movements all the time either. But that's kind of another point, isn't it? But the point is we need to be lifting really, really heavy every week. I don't believe in block periodization. I'm not saying it doesn't work when I state that. I'm saying I don't think it's the best approach for most people. I think in the right environment it can be phenomenal. None of us are in that environment. I'm not in that environment. And many people comment that I have a perfect lifestyle. But I mean, high reps doesn't have to be lightweight. Notice right there, what am I doing with good mornings there? Anyone who added that weight up knows that's 265 pounds for good mornings. I'm doing sets of 20 with that. Now, I'm weaker on benching and stuff, right? So it's like, oh, he's doing a bunch of high reps with 225 close grip. Okay, fair enough. It's not super impressive. But I'm also not an amazing bencher. Now, I need to be doing more 10 and 12 and 15 rep work to make me a better bencher. I need more muscle. What's the fastest way to gain muscle? I mean, realistically. And I'm not talking about hypertrophy range. I'm talking about just rep range, because we know every rep range can cause hypertrophy. Okay, what's the easiest for us to recover? When we look at all the literature, what's the most time efficient and easiest to recover from in terms of people feeling less beat up? Higher rep work, stuff in that 10 rep range. Okay, when that's been looked at in studies, even compared with lower reps, you can do fewer sets to get the same muscle growth. You don't feel as beat up. The counter argument, their maxes don't go up as much. But that's when people are doing whole several month blocks of training of using exclusively 1 rep range. I don't think good coaches advocate that. I want to be clear there. I don't think it's good coaching to have someone run only one rep range for 10 weeks straight. Right? That's just being done for research purposes. A good coach would not have you do that. That's silly. My opinion, says me. So you shouldn't be concerned with the maxes. What increases maxes the most? Doing maxes. So if someone is already doing heavy work, that downside is gone. Because your maxes are going to go up more from doing maxes than they are from doing heavy threes or a bunch of threes or a bunch of fives. You're actually training the intramuscular coordination. You're practicing the skill of ramping up to a max. You're practicing exerting maximum force for one rep. That will make your maxes go up the most, your potential. But most of that potential is coming from your hypertrophy. Now, am I saying that speed work doesn't help? Of course, I'm not saying that. Speed work does help. Does practicing a little bit of setup, does having better movement patterns help? Yes, those things all help. Where does most of your strength come from, though? Where does your strength potential come from? Because maxing out basically only helps a little bit structurally. Okay. It develops intramuscular coordination, builds the mindset. It teaches us to exert maximally, but you have to have the muscle mass to exert. If most of your training is geared towards just general hypertrophy and body composition and even conditioning, and the conditioning helps because if you're in good shape, what happens? You can recover. You can handle higher volumes of training. You can have more work density. You can recover faster. You can handle the higher rep sets better. You can handle the speed work better with the short breaks. But generally speaking, if most of our training is geared towards body composition, then we just have to figure out what's the ideal amount to peak that strength with. And I think it's doing the conjugate type system. I've experimented with it with different frequencies of this stuff. I've done everything from Bulgarian to doing max effort, rotating upper and lower 6 and 7 days a week. The max effort system on conjugate. You burn out pretty quick doing that. A few months, you're toast. All the way to doing the 2 maxes a week. And you know what? My best lifts have all been hit doing it. 2 maxes a week. 1 good upper body and 1 good lower body taken to a max every week. That will develop the intramuscular coordination we need. It doesn't take large amounts of singles to develop that. These aren't highly technical lifts. We don't need a lot of skill for most brute strength lifts. And squat, bench, and deadlift, overhead press, these are brute strength lifts. They really are. Technique only accounts for a small amount. Mainly techniques there to just keep you from getting hurt. Right? Oftentimes it doesn't really add that much to your lift. Because you can just build the weak links. You can have bad technique and just build the weak links from that are being hit with the bad technique, and they'll clean those weak links right up, and you'll be just as strong. It just might require you to overdevelop certain areas. But the point is, you don't need that much of it. 2 lifts a week will do it. 2 lifts a week will do it. And if you just do it year round, you're always in practice. So if most of our training is geared towards body composition and hypertrophy, it means we're going to be doing a lot of volume. Because we need to do a lot of work in a short period of time, and it needs to be work we can recover from. It means our training needs to be geared towards even picking exercises that we can recover from. Like, do you have to do a bunch of high rep squats to build all the muscles of your squat? No. There are a lot of exercises that are easy to recover from. You can do more volume and still build more muscle with. Because if you can't recover from the volume, it's not doing you any good. Right? So, pick movements that have a good stimulus to fatigue ratio. That's how Dr. Mike puts it. How's Louis Simmons put it? I want to get as strong as possible with the lightest weight possible. Why? Because it doesn't beat you up. All right? Save the heavy lifting for the max work. I'm not saying you can't occasionally do some 5s or some 3s or whatever. But the bulk of your training needs to be high volume, high rep work. You need to be maximizing muscle mass, because muscle mass is what gives us our strength potential. When I say that, I don't mean your pecs and your biceps, right? We're not talking about bodybuilding. We're talking about building the muscles that you use to move big weight. And then building up whatever your weakest links are on those lifts on top of it. If your triceps are your weak link, you need to be training them into the ground with tons of reps. Okay? If your delts are the weak link, you need to be training the hell out of your delts, and that can include even single joint movements. If your hamstrings are your weak link, you need to be hitting them with 20 plus sets a week probably, with higher reps. That's what you need to be doing. You need to build these muscles. Most of our training needs to be geared towards hypertrophy and volume. Doesn't mean we don't treat the maxes and the speed work like I do as our primary training modalities. If we do, because we always do those first. Do them first in the training sessions, the stuff we program. Everything else is about stacking muscle on. It has to be. Because that's what builds your strength potential. A bigger muscle is potentially a stronger muscle. Or as they say in the car world, racing car world, there's no replacement for displacement. Same thing as saying size equals strength. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.